This is Will Nunziata, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film. And today I am so excited to be joined by FENIX360's latest global artist ambassador, the one and only world-famous pianist, Dr. Richard Pohl. But before we get to our interview, here is a sneak peek at Dr. Pohl's incredible talent. Well, hello, Dr. Pohl. How are you?
I'm great. And you?
I'm doing so great. Well, you live in China, but you are right now vacationing in your home country of the Czech Republic with your beautiful family. And I want to begin actually with what you were like growing up in the Czech Republic. When did your affinity for music and specifically piano playing begin? And you were winning competitions at a very young age. How were those early years for you in terms of how it affected your later career?
Well, my grandmother had piano in their house and we lived in one house together. So I believe I started to play with it maybe even like I was 5 or something like this, but just playing some tunes, simple things, not really studying. Studying like with a teacher, going regular classes. That was when I was 6. And my about the affinity to music, that was I believe that my first great encounter with music was with the orchestra. It was with orchestra. We just went to a local concert hall and there was a string orchestra playing. And because there was a small hall and the string orchestra was just facing me, I was just like a few meters from it. So I just still remember this sheer power and this amazing colors, sound colors, and all these things coming onto me, small child, maybe like 5, 6 years old. And that was just, at that point, I believe I was just like that. Yeah, and I remember that from that point I just felt that this is something I want to do. And my mother later at some point just took me to those piano classes there and I just started.
Was Twinkle Twinkle one of the first time, one of your first?
That was probably some of our own Czech folk tunes, I believe. Yeah, I don't really remember. I honestly don't remember.
Well, you were only 15 years old when you started studying at conservatory. My goodness, what was that like for you?
Well, it was quite a change for me because I came from a small, very small little mountain town and I went to a city. So I moved out from my family and I was living in so that was like a lot of changes for me personally. And otherwise it was just, I had to be practicing and practicing, and studying is just like that. So I just went with whatever they were asking me for to do, or my teacher asked me to do, and of course there was a lot of crises. It was quite hard at times. It's not easy. You have to struggle. You have to just sometimes you have to overcome some difficulties, just like that. Yeah.
Now, you have such an affinity for all of the great classical composers, but I'm curious to know, what is it about Mozart that really inspires you in your artistry?
Well, Mozart, it just speaks to me very naturally. I would say Mozart is artist which you can get attached to very easily because it's very beautiful melody, and through this melody he just speaks to you. I would say it's also like Mozart is so clean and transparent, so that you just have to like get into this music by focusing on that melody, how it goes through your fingers, and then you just let the accompanist just softly behind. So it's something like this kind of natural, almost virgin-like beauty, which so much enthralls me about Mozart's music.
That's amazing. Well, listen, you have won countless awards for not only your playing, but your studies are immense. You obviously have such an amazing fascination, but also a beautiful, intentional love of learning. I'm curious to know how your travels where you've performed has not only inspired you, in the growth of your performing, but your teaching, because you have performed all over the world, not only in your home country, obviously, but Germany, Austria, Poland, France, Bulgaria, Mexico, Sweden, Belgium, Italy, you name it. I'm curious to know how your travels as a performer has affected, not only your performing, but again, your teaching.
That's interesting because this kind of music performance travels, it's not the same like a tourist traveling. I wish it's could be so. Sometimes it is like that, but often it's just like you go and you spend 1 or 2 days, one night or something. You play your performance.
You're in the hotel, and then you just go to the stage.
Yeah, and you leave the next day. You wish you could see the Rome, but you don't really see the Rome or something like that. But about the teaching. I think for me the most important is that I could see how people are dealing with similar things in different ways. The most important was actually my move to China. That was the most important travel for me, and which was like in the end it turns out to be long-term travel. It was not like that, meant like that originally.
Yes.
To visit, but yeah.
And I'm sure with your travels, sorry to interrupt, I'm sure with your travels, it just was making me think that I'm sure it allowed you to realize the universality and the universal language of classical music.
Yeah. Especially when you have this pleasure to play with other musicians, which are from different backgrounds, and you could do some chamber music or these kind of things, like a collaboration with the singers, which I did a lot too, and that's how I met my wife. And then you can just come on the stage, you just have a little rehearsal, and you see, oh wow, you do this thing this way, I do this thing this way. We can just talk about it a little bit, and then we find our own way. And during the concert on the stage, we maybe found completely another way, because I do something, she or he does something, and you can see that people are approaching it different ways. So you can see still a little bit of those national culture behind it, like that French people would do this different, Americans or Russians or Chinese, whatever.
Well, your studies for your doctoral thesis brought you to New York, to the Juilliard School, which is literally right around the block from where I live in New York.
Great. That's wonderful.
I live right by Lincoln Center, so I know Juilliard very well. But thank goodness you went to Juilliard, because it brought you eventually to the country you mentioned that has fascinated you your entire life, China. And I mean, thank goodness you went to China, because you met your better half, Xin Wang, the amazing soprano. How did that all happen?
Oh, well, meeting my wife, that was just like she joined the competition and she received an award. And this award, part of the award was concert tour with me. So she sort of won me in a competition, and that's how we met, and that's how we. But basically, during that tour, we also like started dating.
Well, speaking of collaborations with your wife, you just recorded an album called Magical Songs. Talk to me about Magical Songs, and also what people can expect when they get that album. And then on top of that, you also have another project with her in the works that I want to learn about.
So the album, it's here.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, that picture is very special one because actually it's our wedding picture. It's part of it's part of the photo shoot which we did during our wedding, and because we just are thinking what to put on a cover, what to put to the booklet, and whatever. We just thought about all these things, and in the end, well, we just thought the most touching photos we have, and the most artistic at the same times, in a way, because we have artistic like profile, this kind of pictures, so studio pictures, but something like which is more emotionally. It's
more emotional, but also I think relatable, because it doesn't look overly produced.
Something about us, because basically also this Magical Songs album, it contains art songs which are mostly about love, and we just thought, well, we just put these ones, and the company which produced it in China, because it was published in China, so they just love it so much, and they said, oh, definitely these pictures perfectly fit, and in the end it made quite a nice like romantic style.
I love it. I love it. Now do you have another collaboration coming up with your wife?
Yeah, we are about to start quite a big recording project, because we are going to record a complete art songs, so the complete collection that could be turning out like 7, 8, 9 CDs. We don't even know yet, because it's quite a huge body of work, and that's by Czech composer Vítězslav Novák, which was pupil of Antonín Dvořák.
That's amazing. Well, I also want to talk about COVID. Obviously, it was and still is in some respects, but you know, thank goodness, hopefully we're over the hump, a pandemic that affected us all. But you used the opportunity to, you know, to stay busy. Talk to me a little bit about what you were able to do during the pandemic.
Well, I was playing with the computer, obviously. Well, so I just got a lot of cams and a lot of microphones, like here I have a microphone too, and all these things, and I just started to do online teaching, online classes, some online lectures, even all these things, all in China, because we are based in China already for 7 years. So I just got in touch with a bigger audience, and also I got in touch with more students, and now even now when it's already over, I still do some online classes, and many students which we started in this online form, they now come for the regular classes too, from quite far away places too.
Amazing. Well, Dr. Richard Pohl, I could speak with you all day. You are not only an inspiration to everyone who follows you as an artist, as a teacher, as an, you know, but also I'm thinking about, you know, the fact that you're able to spread your expertise through not only your teaching, but your music and your collaborations with your beautiful wife. It's so inspiring and so wonderful. I'm so excited that you're coming on board as a FENIX360 Global Artist Ambassador. And even more so, selfishly for me, I am so excited that we are now connected. And hey, maybe we'll be able to collaborate one day.
Definitely.